Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Kier. Welcome to the Benjamin Kier Show. We're kicking off April with some big changes in the sports world. There's lots of movers and shakers being shifted around. Let's start with the big one. Todd Bowles is set to take over as the head coach of the Buccaneers, with Bruce Arians stepping down into a front office role. Despite the health scares that we've seen throughout his career, Arians said that this move was not motivated by his health. Apparently, Arians and the Bucs have been working on a succession plan behind the scenes. It was important to Arians that he leave behind a strong team for his companion, Todd Bowles, so Todd could enter a situation where he could actually compete and succeed. If you take a look at head coaching vacancies, that's not usually the case. So I find this incredibly noble. Arians was known to be a friend to those who were around him, and he was going to look out for the guys, and he wanted to see them shine. This transition of power is Arians' final act as head coach, and it'll always serve as a testament to his belief in those around him. And that would be a great right off into the sunset ending, if it were the full story. Our parents, specifically sports parents, speak up on behalf of their kids. You know, the stereotypical parent who fights on behalf of their child. Even as you get older, these parents don't go away. LeVar Ball, he defined sports parenting over the past couple years. He didn't care what people thought of him. He was going to brand his kids into stars. More recently, Odell Beckham Sr., OBJ's father, used social media to shed light on the situation that his son was playing in. He helped his son get shipped off and ultimately go to LA with a Super Bowl bound team. So although he hasn't made nearly as much noise as those examples, Tom Brady Sr. also falls into that category. He's said some things in the past. No, he doesn't go on social media or do broadcast television interviews. His style seems to be speaking his mind on a phone interview or a radio broadcast. If you ever find out ahead of time that Tom Brady Sr. is going to be on a radio show, you definitely want to get your keys, run into your car, and listen in, because he's going to say what's on his mind. There won't be any lies spewed. Most recently, even after his son is retired, Brady Sr. shared that his son Tom did not want to retire. There were external reasons why. After a comment like this, the 7-time Super Bowl champ usually comes out and corrects his dad, or at least denies his father's claims. But Tom Brady never silenced Tom Sr. And sometimes, silence is the loudest sound in the room. We know that there were rough times between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady when he first came from New England. Brady wanted to enter a situation where he had total control. And he really didn't get it until after the bye week of that first season. People brush over it now, but that team was not expected to win a Super Bowl midway through that season. They were all over the place. But Brady stuck to his guns and eventually got what he wanted, which was control of the offense. The team found success, won a Super Bowl, and never looked back on their decision to hand Tom the reins. Brady at this stage in his career was determined to be one of the voices of the team, to have a say in hiring, trades, and the game plan. That was mostly okay with everyone else in the Buccaneers organization, but Bruce Arians was always the one thorn in Tom's side. And it started with their clashing personalities. Arians is loud, he's brash, he's full throttle as a manager and as a coach. Brady's personality is more composure based. He's very buttoned up, he thinks things through. For Tom to come out of retirement, something had to give. Ownership knew that. The team knew that. And Arians knew it. But Tom doesn't like messy. And lucky enough for him and the rest of the Bucs organization, this situation had a clean and polished way of playing out. Arians could step down. They could present the storyline that Bowles, his partner in crime, was taking over. And that was that. Brady still has left which available to him, since he's not the head coach, so they're going to have plenty of time to game plan the offense together. This situation is what Brady wanted from the beginning when he came to Tampa. And now, he has it. The Kansas Jayhawks beat UNC last night in a thriller that could only come from the finale of the NCAA March Madness tournament. UNC entered halftime with a 6-point lead, and at one point the Jayhawks trailed by as much as 16 points. But it didn't matter, because Kansas displayed an element that few teams ever possess. Composure. It doesn't sound as cool as the word clutch, or get people excited like the term superstar. But make no mistake, composure creates superstars. Superstars are created with composure. What Kansas did last night is what I admire so much about Tom Brady's 2-minute drill. It's what makes Joe Burrow so great. The ability to put the negative previous play behind you and move forward. It's what made the historic Yankees World Series teams so magical to watch. It's why people love international football stars like Ronaldo, Messi, Lewandowski, and Mbappe. An athlete's ability to stay in the game and be persistent, even when the odds seem insurmountable, is what separates the greats from the greatest. It sounds so cool when we say the it factor, or the X factor, or clutch. But what that all boils down to is composure, staying in the moment, even when the roar of the crowd and statistics aren't in your favor. Kansas did this to the Miami Hurricanes in the Elite Eight, and they did it again on the biggest stage in college athletics. Composure. Remember the term. It's why the Jayhawks are the 2022 men's college basketball champions. The Miami Heat lead the East as the #1 seed and have clinched their spot in the NBA playoffs. There have been so many star-studded moments this year, but it hasn't been easy. It's been a true team effort to get to this point. They really aren't getting enough credit for what they've accomplished so far. Overall, big picture, not even just this season, this is a team that has come out of a post-LeBron era and found a way to succeed. That's something that LeBron's old teams can't necessarily say because they haven't been able to do it. The Miami Heat have never swayed in their commitment to their fans or their winning culture. One of the best managers in the league, Pat Riley, still remains very involved in the team's operations. You have a veteran head coach who has adapted very well in Eric Spoelstra. And you also have a team where everyone has figured out their role. Victor Oladipo had his biggest game of the Heat just last week. Tyler Hero's developed into an excellent role player off the bench this season. He's nominated, probably at the end of the season, for 6th Man of the Year. Bam, Jimmy, and Lowry are playing as a unit. One complements the other. And their bench is one of the deepest, if not the deepest, in the NBA. They look like their past struggles, the losing streaks, and the courtside confrontations are past them. The Miami Heat could not have picked a better time to get hot going into the playoffs. And using all the elements that I just mentioned, they can make their case as the team to beat this postseason. Xavien Howard and the Miami Dolphins have agreed to the most lucrative contract for a cornerback in NFL history. The deal is worth over $50 million in new money. And according to his agent David Cantor, the 5-year contract gives Howard the most guaranteed cash for a cornerback. This deal has been in the works for some time. This big contract dispute came about during an offseason where his teammate, Byron Jones, signed an $82 million contract with the Dolphins. That situation got a little bit ugly. Xavier Howard ended up missing a bit of the mandatory minicamp, and this made things tense. The Dolphins definitely had to work their way back into the good graces of Howard, and vice versa. Ultimately, a deal is now done, and everyone seems to be happy. Dolphins general manager Chris Greer seems happy to welcome Howard back, and it all looks good. Xavier Howard is incredibly talented, and is arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the league, if not the best. The Dolphins never denied that, but at some point, the price that Howard may have seen that he needed might have been too high a price to pay. Now that you have him back, you restore one of the best defensive secondaries in the league. That's obviously important for a team that looks like it wants to be a contender. But even more important than that, the Dolphins agreeing to terms with Xavien Howard, who is arguably one of their biggest toss-ups in player negotiations, is an encouraging sign to the locker room. It shows the rest of the players on Miami's roster that the Dolphins will take care of their own. That's a quality that Miami hasn't shown enough in recent years. So that signing restores the team's faith in themselves and the organization, and it shows the fans that the Dolphins care more about winning than they do about saving money. And with that, we conclude this episode. I appreciate all of your continued support on the show. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Also, turn on the notification bells so you never miss an episode. As always, I'm Benjamin Cure. You're watching The Benjamin Cure Show. Until next time, have a great week, everybody.